Good evening. You're watching Just the News. I'm Amita Balachandra. Straight up to our top story today. Veteran leader and former Union Minister Ghulam Nabi Azad has resigned from the Congress party. Now, in his resignation letter to party chief Sonia Gandhi, Azad wrote that the Congress has lost the will and ability to fight for what is right for the country. Now, he said that this was because the party was running under the instruction of a small group of All India Congress Committee leaders. Now, he went on to say, and I quote, unfortunately, after the entry of Rahul Gandhi into politics and particularly after January 2013, when he was appointed vice president by you, the entire consultative mechanism which existed earlier was demolished by him. All senior and experienced leaders were sidelined, and new coterie of inexperienced sycophants started running the affairs of the party, end quote. Now, he had been a leading member of the group of 23 dissenters, what's called as G23, who had written to Sonia Gandhi in 2020 calling for a complete overhaul of the organization and a full time and visible leadership as well. Now, hours after Mr. Azad quit the Congress party, five former MLAs from Jammu and Kashmir also resigned from the outfit. Now, post this, there were several comments that came in from other leaders as well. Congress leader Jairam Ramesh said former Rajya Sabha MP Ghulam Nabi Azad betrayed the Congress and his DNA has now been modified. He tweeted, and I quote, a man who's been treated with the greatest respect by the Congress leadership has betrayed it by his vicious personal attacks, which reveals his true character, end quote. Now, Congress leader Ajay Markan, in the meantime, at a press conference said, and I quote, he left the party at a time when it's fighting a battle on the streets against price rise and polarization. End quote. Moving on to an update on the Sonali Phogat case. Now, the Goa police today has alleged that BJP leader Sonali Phogat was drugged at a party by the two persons accused in her murder case. Now, the police filed a murder case on Thursday. The police has said that the incident took place at Curly's restaurant at Anjuna in North Goa district between the night of August 22nd and early hours of August 23rd. Mr. Sangwan and Singh confessed during the questioning that they had intentionally mixed the substance in her drinks, and this was according to the police, and these are the two accused in this particular case. The police officer added that since the postmortem report has not mentioned the exact cause of the death, it can be known only after chemical examination of large internal organs of the body, and other reports are available, and that's when it will be known. Moving on now to the Hyderabad case on what T. Singh has said in his controversial statement. The Friday prayers concluded peacefully at mosques in Hyderabad's old city, and this was amid heightened security. According to the News Minute, there was heightened security in view of the possibility of protests against suspended BJP leader T. Raja Singh's alleged disparaging comments against Prophet Muhammad. Now, Mr. Singh was detained on Thursday after the police accused him of repeatedly making provocative and inflammatory speeches. He was arrested first, released on bail later, and then detained again. Now, the old city area has witnessed protests over his video that was posted online on 22nd of August, which made derogatory comments. Now, massive protests also broke out subsequently, demanding his arrest. Also in the news, the Delhi High Court today has said WhatsApp's 2021 privacy policy update placed the messaging app users in a take it or leave it situation, virtually forcing them into agreement by providing a mirage of choice. Now, it dismissed the appeal of Facebook and WhatsApp, challenging a single bench order that had refused to interfere with the Competition Commission of India's investigation into the platform's privacy policy. Now, the Competition Commission of India in March had ordered an investigation into WhatsApp's new privacy policy after making a prima facie observation that the policy violated the Competition Act 2000. In January 2021, if you remember, WhatsApp had sent its users a notification that it was preparing a new privacy policy and it reserved the right to share some user data with Facebook. However, there was severe backlash post this, and millions of users moved to other messaging platforms like Signal and Telegram. WhatsApp then decided to defer the changes to the 15th May 2021. The company said that it would do more to clear misinformation about this policy. An update on the Kallakurichi student death case. Now, the Madras High Court has granted bail to the five accused in this particular case. These were five members of a private school in Tamil Nadu's Kallakurichi district in connection with the death of a class 12 student on the school premises in July. Now, while hearing the five arrested persons' petition earlier this week, the Madras High Court also questioned the CBCID on why all evidence to hold the five officials had not been submitted yet. CBCID is currently investigating this particular case. On the 13th of July, a class 12 girl was found dead in the hostel on the school premises, and a note was found in a room which alleged that she was tortured by some teachers at the school. Now, the girl's family and others staged sit-in protests on the Kallakurichi Salem highway near the school, alleging foul play in her death. Moving on now, the Kerala High Court today ordered the state government to shut down all religious places and prayer halls running without permission. Now, the order was issued by the court while turning down a petition to convert a commercial building into a mosque. Now, Justice P.V. Krishnan also directed the state chief secretary to issue orders to ensure that new religious places and prayer halls are allowed to be set up only in appropriate cases. Meanwhile, according to a US-based journalist, Angad Singh's family, the journalist was allegedly deported from Delhi airport while on a personal visit to India. His mother took to Facebook to say that the authorities did not cite any reason for deporting her son. Instead, she wrote, and I quote, "But we know it is his award winning journalism that scares them. It is the stories he did and the stories he is capable of. It is the love for his motherland that they can't stand." End quote. Now, another family member also spoke to the Indian Express and said, and I quote, "His request for a visa as a journalist to make a documentary on Dalits in India was rejected recently." On to business news right now. To curb rising prices of the commodity, the government has decided to put restrictions on the export of wheat flour. Now, the decision was taken by the Cabinet Committee on Economic Affairs, chaired by Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Thursday. Now, the decision is taken against the backdrop of the Russia Ukraine war. The center has said that both the countries are major exporters of wheat, accounting for around one-fourth of the global wheat trade, and the conflict between them led to the global wheat supply chain disruption, increasing demand of Indian wheat. Now, in order to ensure food security of the country, the government put a prohibition on export of wheat in May. However, this caused a jump in overseas demand for wheat flour. An update on the Adani Group versus NDTV case. Now, Adani Group has now said that the regulatory restrictions imposed on NDTV founders do not affect the conglomerate's attempt to buy a 29.18% of stake indirectly in the media company. Now, NDTV had earlier said that the Adani Group would first need clearance from SEBI to acquire a stake in the company, as its founders were barred from selling or buying shares for 2 years by the regulatory body, and this had come into effect on the 27th of November 2020. Adani Group in turn has said that the concerns that have been raised by NDTV are, and I quote, legally untenable and devoid of merit. End quote. On to environment news right now. This one comes in from Pakistan. Heavy rains and floods have killed 937 people, including 343 children, and left at least 30 million people without shelter in Pakistan. Now, the government on Thursday officially declared a national emergency. Now, the Sindh province has recorded the highest number of fatalities, with 306 people dying since the 14th of June because of rain related incidents. Now, Pakistan's climate minister has said that the government was battling with, and I quote, a climate-induced humanitarian disaster of epic proportions. And one piece of good news before we wrap things up here on this bulletin, this one comes in from Iran. And according to state media, women have officially attended a domestic league football match in Iran for the first time since the 1979 Islamic Revolution. Now, the BBC reported that about 500 are thought to have been in this particular game, attending this game at Azadi Stadium in Tehran on Thursday night. Now, several Iranian websites also said that the decision to allow women into the game on Thursday came after football's world governing body, FIFA, sent a letter to Iranian authorities calling on them to permit more women into stadiums. That brings us to the end of this bulletin. Thank you so much for watching.